We've done outreach, so now I gotta go somewhere else other than outreach. Where do I go from here? Where do I go from here? There's this one close to me. Last week. What did I do in last week? Never seen a British way. It's got dogs here, just got it so dog. Is there any mushroom? No mushroom, there's no mushroom. Gardo. What music? No, it's okay. It's so good, it's so bright, it's so good, it's so bright. Hills of eyes, hills of eyes, oh yeah, the hills of eyes.
Quentin, I have a proposal for you.
Do you now? Something tells me you'll be asking more of me than a cask of Gotand gold. Go on then. Propose. You'd have me convince the chiefs and chamberlains of the realm that they should simply swallow their pride and do the one thing that has proved impossible for thousands of years. Was there anything else? Perhaps I can fetch you a meat pie as well.
I know it's a lot to ask, but I can think of none better suited to the role.
And you'd have me give up what little I have left to do it. I told you, Clive. The people of Lostwing are my family, and I cannot abandon them. You'll have to find someone else.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So am I.
And why might that be?
What he's asking. How's it any different to what you've done so far? They want you to speak for those who can't speak for themselves. That's what you do best. If it's the vineyard you're worried about, we'll see that the grapes are picked and the tons filled. You know we will.
It's not that.
Then what is it? You said yourself we're family. Don't you trust us?
You know that's not what I'm...
Then what are you saying? That only we are worth saving? Why turn your back on everyone else? You convinced us we could build new lives for ourselves, and if you can do that, who's to say you couldn't convince the entire realm?
A stirring argument. I fear that any rejoinder I make might fall somewhat flat by comparison.
So you'll join us?
Where do you need me?
Field Marshal Havel will want to speak with you in person. He's currently in Port Isolde. I can arrange for a party of Cursebreakers to accompany you there.
That would be very much appreciated. I hear the roads are far from safe these days.
Hopefully not for long. My uncle will want to know that his plan is taking shape.
Hello, what you gonna do? What you gonna do?
Clive, we weren't expecting you.
I wasn't expecting to be here, but it seems we still owe you a considerable amount of coin for your help with our rebuilding efforts. And though I doubt it's what you were expecting, we were hoping you'd take this as payment.
A star ruby? I can't accept this. It's worth at least twice what you owe me. More if you can find yourself the right buyer.
Think of the difference as interest.
Interest? If word got out I charged that much, no one would ever borrow from me again. Anyway, why are you the one here asking me about this? I'd have expected Otto. Bit much sending the Lord Marquis out to settle your debts, isn't it? The old goat working himself to death again?
Something like that. Most days I think he's the only reason the hideaway's still standing.
Same as always, eh? Back when the place was nothing but a twinkle in the eye of a recently retired Lord Commander, word is he was the first one Sid reached out to. Probably knew that without his strong arm and level head, the idea would never get off the ground. Sid may have been the face of the hideaway, but Otto's always been the backbone. And when Sid passed away, we were all worried that would be the end of it. That Otto would just give up.
His death was hard on everyone. But it must have hit Otto hardest of all.
But he didn't give up, did he? Quite the opposite, in fact. If I recall, he was the one who nominated you as Sid's replacement, and rallied the rest around you. I reckon what he saw in Sid, he saw in you too. And don't we all? Doesn't hurt that you're half as stubborn and twice as handsome, neither. That, and you keep good company.
I suppose I do. Goat will want to know the stones were delivered. If he's still with us.
You should have seen him.
Welcome back, Sid.
Welcome back, Sid.
Yes. Welcome back. Trip wasn't too much of a pain in the arse, I hope. Truth be told, it was me who suggested roping you in to help with the trial. But from what I hear, things didn't go quite as planned.
No, they most certainly did not. Ember lost his nerve in the face of a beast of prey, but he didn't lose heart. He pressed on, and he achieved his aim. And is that not what we ask of our scouts?
Indeed it is. Thank you for your honest appraisal, Sid. The fact remains, however, that Ember will not always have a battle-hardened warrior on hand to pluck him from the jaws of peril. All I have gleaned from this trial is that without someone watching his back, Ember is little more than a liability.
Wait, Sergeant. Ember still has much to learn, it's true. And this time he was found wanting. But I'd say he's due a second chance, nonetheless. After all, he did do as you asked.
With a bit of hard work, any hand can be made to hold a blade, and any mind can conquer its fears. But a scout's nose is different. You've either got one, or you ain't. And by sniffing out that lock, young Ember here has shown he has a conch and a half. Wouldn't do to waste it now, would it?
Fine. One more chance.
I'll do whatever you ask. I'll spend my days and nights in the pit if I have to. I'll show you. Just you wait.
Daft as a brush, that one. But his heart's in the right place. Just like someone else we know. And if you ask me, we've been leaning on him for far too long. That time the curse breakers took some of the weight off his shoulders, I reckon.
Couldn't hurt.
Just don't tell Gav I said so, will you? I won't have him thinking he's been hard done by. Next thing you know, he'll be asking for a day off. Chance would be a fine thing. Back to work.
Forgive me, Sid. This did not play out as I expected.
Things really do these days. But that's why we need men like Ember more than ever. Men who can make the best out of a bad situation. Remember that.
I will, Sid. Thank you.
Twinside's hundreds of leagues away. That'd mean the crystal is...
massive. Aye.
Goat. Still alive, I see. So Lady Karen accepted the ruby.
Ah, about that. I tried my best, but she was just too stubborn to take it. She threw it right back in my face, in fact, and told me I could stick my stupid stone where the sun don't shine.
Karen refused payment.
I hope it wasn't something I said.
I'm sure you were as tactful as ever. Let me see what I can do.
Wonderful. I hope you have better luck than I did.
All right, Clive. Blackthorn told me you helped him out again. Tough for that. Speaking of which, I'm actually a bit,
Worried about him. And you want my advice.
afraid so. It's a bit of a funny one, this, but I saved this posh knob while I was out on a mission, and he gave me this flashy ring to say thank you. So, obviously, I show it to Blackthorn, thinking he'll be impressed, only for him to go white as a sheet and quiet as a curl instead. Try as I might, I can't for the life of me work out what could have got him upset like that. And seeing as how Blackthorn opens up when you're around, I thought maybe...
I'd speak to him again. Well, I suppose there's no point leaving him to stew.
Cheers, Clive.
I'll be sure to pay him a visit as soon as I have a moment.
All right, I'll meet you by the forge then. You come along when you're ready.
All the missions ever are popping up. We finished the game.
Uncle, I bring good news. The Field Marshal has agreed to your plan.
Ha! Of course he has. I didn't doubt you for a moment, dear boy.
Rutherford is accompanying him back to your manor in Porter's Alder as we speak. They will await your return there. As will one other.
One other? Who, exactly?
Lord Havel was concerned that even if he could get the realm's armies to agree to an accord, he might not be as successful in convincing those with political power. He asked if I might have a solution. And I suggested a certain Imperial Lord Magistrate turned Liberator.
One of your co-conspirators?
Master Quinton would probably call me one of his. But yes.
Another outlaw, then. Just the thing we need to put these rotten politicos in their places. Good thinking, Clive.
I'm glad you approve.
The more the merrier, eh?
Uncle, assuming Havel and Quinton can solve our problem with the armies, you still haven't mentioned how we might manage the grain shortages.
Oh, don't you worry, my boy. The 7 high houses will be seeing to that. They have all agreed to make the most generous of donations. Of course, it did take a little persuasion, but luckily I had some unexpected help.
From who?
Why, you, my boy. Rumor has it that you rescued the Lady Ariane's head steward Rockford from a horde of bloodthirsty bandits.
It was more of a handful.
Well, the old battle axe was so pleased. She had a shipload of talents delivered to my private docks by the next new moon. And when the other houses saw the parsimonious old crone's purse strings finally loosen, they as good as tripped over themselves in the rush to follow suit.
I'm happy to hear it.
Now, I must be getting back to the manor. Join us there at your earliest convenience, would you?
Of course, Uncle.
And how, pray tell, will we get that grain to the capital if the roads are still overrun with akashic?
You'll find another bloody road. I only have so many men, and I'm not about to send them headlong into an ether flood. That is, unless you'd have them turn as well.
Well, I'd certainly eat less.
Says the man with a belly bigger than a band of curls. My soldiers actually need their rations. Without any food to keep them going, they'll be dead even before you've sent them on your fool's errand.
If I may, gentlemen, perhaps I might suggest an alternative approach. Though supply routes are indeed disrupted, there is no shortage of ships. Indeed, they bob away in every bay from here to Randalar, awaiting a safe haven. Allow them to make port and fill their bellies full of grain. And once those who crowd the cities are fed, ferry the displaced back to the countryside to work the fallow fields. But I'm sure that you wish to continue your discussion. Forgive the interruption. Two such firm friends as yourselves need no help from the likes of me. Rutherford spoke fondly of the great bond between you.
Us? Friends?
I can't stand the man.
Clive, I'm beginning to question the quality of the company you keep.
And what kind of company were you expecting him to keep? The man's a criminal.
Criminal? How dare you? You are not fit to breathe the same air as this fine, upstanding young gentleman.
Upstanding? He calls himself Sid the Bloody Outlaw!
Once more onto the breach.
Shall we begin again? What we seek here is not to create a new nation, nor to claim the thrones of those that already exist. We wish simply to bring stability to the realm that mankind might weather the current storm. And to do that, we must convince those in power, the generals, the statesmen, the nobles, that our cause is just. There will be disagreements, yes. And I imagine some resistance, much resistance. But we cannot let that deter us. If we show them the path, show them that we walk it ourselves, then I am confident they will follow. The fate of the world lies in my nephew's hands, but the well-being of her people lies in ours. And we must not squander the chance that Clive has given us.
Uncle Byron,
Now, with that settled, let's move on to the signing of the Accord. For what great moment in history hasn't been accompanied by a little ceremony? Citizens of Valisthea, I present to you the Triunity. Rutherford, Mike Will. Well, my boy, the stage is set.
that it is.
This is the role you were born for. Now I ask only that you trust in the talents of your supporting cast. We shall play our parts to the best of our abilities, that you might have the opportunity to shine. The realm needs its Sir Crandall, and there is no better Crandall than you, Clive. I want you to keep this signed accord as proof of our faith in you.
I will. Thank you, Uncle.
do you think that thing is?
And how the hell is Sid gonna deal with that?
You alright?
Something troubling you?
No more than usual. It's just... Etta's baby will be coming soon, and I wanted to make something for it.
I'm sure she'd like that.
Back in the north, families would always make gifts when a bairn was on the way. Yeah, let the little tykes know they were welcome in their new homes, like.
So, what's the problem?
Well, the problem is that Etta's due any day now. I don't know if I'll be ready in time.
Is there anything I can do to help?
You know, there just might be.
All right then. What exactly are we making?
A good luck charm. But not just any good luck charm.
Not just any.
No. One made from the feather of a silver chocobo. There's naught luckier in all the realm, or so we used to say back home anyway. Thing is, they're hard to come by. Had Otto and Karen check with their suppliers, but nothing. I'd try and track one down myself, only...
Only the big day is fast approaching. And that's all you need, a feather.
That or the bird whose horse it's attached to, aye. I was gonna start by asking around with traveling traders plying the northern borders.
Well, there's no shortage of those passing through Martha's. I think I might make that my first port of call. I'll let you know if I find anything.
You're a good friend, Clive. I won't forget this.
Lady Karen, Goad tells me you weren't happy with our offer. Would you prefer the debt was repaid in coin?
What debt? I don't recall lending any of you like me hard-earned gil. I may have tossed a talent or two in the Hideaway's coffers, but those were donations, and you can hardly call it charity if you go asking for it back.
Of course not. But one good turn deserves another. And our circumstances have changed. Surely you wouldn't shun the gratitude of a pauper who happened to have become a prince.
Oh, so you're a prince now, are you? Fine. But I'm selling it and taking what I'm owed, then you're getting the rest whether you like it or not. Where'd you even get this? A decent trader might nab 1,000 talents for a star ruby. A canny one, meanwhile, might claim it were nicked from the belt of Sid the Outlaw himself and ask twice as much. Might be I already have a buyer in mind. Might be you even know her. A fine continental maid whose beauty's only eclipsed by a guile in commerce. You wouldn't mind, would you?
Not at all. Just be sure to tell her that it's always a pleasure doing business.
I hear you ended up delivering all 3 stones. Thanks to this lump. I sometimes wonder what I pay you for.
Speaking of which, I still haven't been paid last month's wages.
Oh, so you remember what's owed to you then? Get your ass behind that disc of yours and don't get up before those ledgers are square.
Right away.
I've seen that before.
Yeah, yeah. Plenty of times. It was the only goblet Sid ever used. Either out of habit, or because the filthy sod couldn't be bothered to find a clean one.
I knew so little about him.
Like most people.
Martha and the Dame both seem to have fond memories of him.
I bet they do.
How long did you know Sid before he...
Before he died? 20 summers, give or take. Back in the day, I was a purser on a trade ship, which is where I met him. He bought passage to... I forget where. And having nothing better to do on the long nights, we set up drinking island rum till the morning bell dragged me back to my duties. Quit my post not long after that. On account of making a fine maiden's belly fat. But me and Sid stayed close, promising we'd one day sail the seas again. That was before fate stepped in and said she was having none of it. The magic woke inside my son soon after his first name day, and there was no hiding his knack.
Couldn't you and your family have...
My family were the ones who summoned the constable, wanted the monster taken away. I couldn't turn my back on him, forget what I felt, and I couldn't for the life of me understand how they could. Luckily, Sid was of the same mind as me. It was him who stood beside me when all I wanted was to tear the whole world down. Him who cried for me when I had no tears left of my own. Him who swore he'd do everything he could to stop it from happening again. And he was true to his word, too. Left the Royal Army once and for all. His ranks, his ribbons, gone. Just like that. Threw away everything he had. All to right a wrong that no one else had the courage to face. I knew then I'd follow that man to the ends of the earth. He was always too clever for his own good, was Sid. Saw the world for what it really was, while the rest of us were content to go along with the lie we were shown. And it can't have been easy, bearing that burden alone. But he didn't let it stop him. He never lost faith in what he believed was right. And that gave us faith in him. Faith he'd steer us true. So I swore to myself that I'd always be right behind him, ready to catch the stubborn sod, if ever he should fall. But I couldn't even do that. Ignore me. Just the ramblings of a tired old man. Leave that lot. I'll tidy it up in a bit.
This is Sid's handwriting. Dear Otto.
I may be drunk, but I wanted you to know this place would be fucked without you. I love you, you grumpy old sod.
This note.
What about it?
Sid was right. Without you, we'd all be lost.
He should have bloody well said so then. Just once. Before he went. wrong, though. Both of you. It was never just me keeping the hideaway afloat. It was all of us. I just shoved people in the right direction. I barely seem to be able to do that anymore.
Would you rather go at the helm?
Well, maybe I've got a few more years left in me.
I'm going to hold you to that, Otto.
Before you go, Sid would have wanted you to have this.
But that's...
This'll do me just fine. Thanks for the ray of sunshine. I'll see if I can't pay you back.
Already have.
Oh, I don't want to finish this game.
There's something about it. I feel like it's calling
Bloody hell, Clive. Not this again. Ain't you got better things to do with your time?
That remains to be seen. August tells me he showed you a ring, and that the sight of it clearly upset you. Would you mind telling us why?
Come on, mate. Bottling it up ain't gonna help no one. If it weren't the ring, and it was something I said, then I'm sorry.
It was the ring, right? It brought back some unhappy memories, that's all. Memories better left forgotten.
Memories of what?
There are things we'd all rather leave behind, Blackthorn. Sometimes it helps to talk about them.
And sometimes it doesn't. Is that so hard to understand?
Don't be like that.
Fine. If it'll get you off my back. That ring he flashed was the work of Zoltan. We apprenticed together, back in the day.
You've never mentioned him before.
Why would I? Ain't seen him in decades, and the last time I did, we almost came to blows. The ring brought it all back. I could tell it was one of his the moment I saw it. Bastard's improved, though. More than I thought possible. That thing's a work of art.
So it was a nice ring. Worth a few gil, maybe. What's it matter to you?
It matters because engraving metal's a nightmare, and I've got no bloody idea how he managed it. The fact is, I couldn't make anything even half that detailed.
So what? You're an armorer, not a jeweler.
I'm the Hideaway's master craftsman. I'm not stealing a living at some backwater village forge. My armor keeps you lot safe, and my swords keep you dangerous. As far as I'm concerned, every swing of my hammer's another blow struck in the name of our cause. So I put my heart and soul into my work. Because the curse breakers deserve better than second best. And I refuse to be shown up by the likes of Zoltan.
Very well. Why don't we go and pay him a visit? Learn his secret.
I doubt he'd be too happy to see me.
Then just this once. Make peace with being second best. Swallow your pride, and focus all your energies on the task at hand. Keeping the curse breakers armed and armored. Provided you can do that, you'll hear no complaints from me. But if you can't, and it's going to distract you, we need to do something about it.
What'd you say, Blackthorn? You know he's right. It's not like you'll be going alone.
All right.
Magic. So, where do you reckon old what's-his-name is then? Zoltan, was it?
In Dravozd, my old village. He won't have left. He's the chief.
Dravozd, eh? That rings a bell. Not far from Tabor, right? Just north of the fields of Carava. Got that, Clive? Meet us at Dravozd as soon as you can, yeah? And I'll make sure Blackthorn don't get cold feet.
Good luck with that. I'll see you there.
Unwavering will and an unbreakable bond. Do you really think we're strong enough?
To save the world? Of course. To have overcome Father's political enemies. Of that I'm most certain. Especially knowing what we know now. What Mother was truly capable of. But perhaps these bands would have helped. Knowing he was with us would have made all the difference.
It's just back there. Father always fought for what he believed was right. It wasn't until that night at Phoenix Gate that I realized I had never fought for anything. I always had someone else to do the fighting for me.
No matter how fate conspired against him, he never lost heart, never looked back, never stopped fighting. To me, he was the greatest of men. I've been trying to live up to his ideals ever since.
We all have, Clive. We all have. And we'll keep trying. Because that's what he would have wanted.
What he would have done himself. Even if it meant standing against the very gods in the heavens.
I shall be borrowing this, Father, if I may. That you might watch over us as we follow in your footsteps.
We won't lay you down.
Onward then.
Onward. To the end.
And to a new beginning.
Compliments. Complimentation.
It's oil. After what happened here, it's a miracle there was any left at all. I better get these materials to Mid so she can finish her prototype. Let's hope one of the merchants here has what Gav needs. Excuse me. I'm looking for something.
Oh, well, then I'm your man.
A silver chocobo feather.
Oh, or maybe not. Though you're not the first to mention the bird around here. There was a man stopped by the rest not long ago, claiming he was attacked by a silver chocobo. Near some gutted hovel, not far from Eastpool. Most took him for a braggart and a liar, but who knows? Perhaps there was some truth to his tale.
We'll see. Thank you.
I'll build a barricade so sturdy, even a bandit could.
Whoever's idea it was to take those bearers away to Eastport has my
Look, Daddy. Shining so brightly. Isn't it pretty?
Just because the heavens have gone to rack and ruin, it don't mean we have to. Now, let's get this stall set out.
How do, traveller? You've the look of a man who could do with a new whetstone? Or perhaps a bawdy etching of the Vicerine?
Maybe another time. I'm looking for a silver chocobo feather.
If that's the case, rumours are all you're likely to find. No one has seen a silver chocobo for years. Word is they were all hunted for their feathers. Some northern nonsense about bringing good luck. Didn't bring them much, nor their bows. If any are still out there, I reckon they'll be doing their damnedest not to be discovered.
You're probably right. Thank you anyway.
I've got greens of all
Looking for
shapes
shelter.
and sizes. Colours
Come on
too.
inside, I'll introduce you to Martha.
Damn it.
It doesn't still hurt, does it?
Oh, 1,000 Akashic jaws couldn't hurt me. I'm a son of Rosaria, after all. A born survivor.
Can I help you with something?
You wouldn't happen to sell silver chocobo feathers, would you?
I deal in fruit, not fancies. But if it's fancies you're after, I suggest you try Rhiannon's ride.
Was a silver chocobo seen there?
Oh, yes. If you believe the ravings of a madman.
It wouldn't be the first time. A silver chocobo sighted in the hills near Rhiannon Tride. It sounds almost too good to be true. But since I'm already here...
Can hardly make out a bloomin' thing. All for a sunny day.
All yours, Torgal.
Now, Torgal!
All yours, Torgal. All yours, Torgal. All yours, Torgal.
It's over.
Tracks. They're not left by bandits for a change. More tracks. And these look fresh. The chocobo was here. And recently. Perhaps it still is. I don't hear anything. Well, I'll be damned. It's all right. I'm not going to hurt you. Just borrowing a feather for my friend. Thank you. Let's get this back to Gav before they change their minds.
Silver chocobo, yellow chocobos, golden chocobo. What are the golden chocobos? What are the yellow ones? Silver chocobos, golden chocobos.
Have care.
I'm bored of my head. This game, this music, just not working out for me. As you can see, I love it. It is interesting.
Kicked out already?
No. This charmer ain't letting anyone through.
Why are the gates closed?
Chief orders. No one's allowed in without his say-so. Not that I'd have let you in anyway. You look like trouble. I suggest you go home.
That's what I'm trying to do, you little prick. Ain't changed a bit, have you, Snotty?
No. It isn't. Blackthorn.
Long time no see, eh?
What the hell are you doing here?
Well, it was meant to be a surprise, but since you are so nicely, I'm here to see Zoltan, you fucking numbskull. Now let us through.
All right. Just don't go starting anything with the chief.
Yeah, I promise I won't throw the first punch. That good enough for you?
Go on then.
Much obliged.
So this is Dravaged. Not much going on, is there?
It's a smithing town. When I was a lad, you'd have to shout to be heard over the sound of hammer on anvil. Clive, you're good with people. You speak to Zoltan.
Hey, you ain't backing out now, are you?
There's a river of bad blood between me and the chief. But if someone can build me a bridge, then I'll cross it.
All right. I'll see what I can do.
I appreciate it. He'll be near the forge on the hill. It was our master's. He'd have inherited it when I left.
Forge on the hill?
Good luck. You'll be needing it.
But if we can't fire the forges, how are we going to earn our keep?
Good day. Thank you. Here you are. Farewell, traveller.
Mama, why hasn't Papa come back yet?
He's helping the chief with something very important.
Hotter! Hotter, damn it! Those miserable flames wouldn't melt butter, let alone iron.
Pardon the intrusion. I'm looking for the chief.
That'd be me.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
I'll bet it is. Keep the gates closed, I tell him. Well done, Snotty. You're not welcome here. Get out. Before things turn nasty.
Blackthorn's here.
What did you say?
He's traveled a long way to see you.
Yes, has he?
He's waiting. Down by the gates.
Then I suggest you take him with you when you leave.
Didn't you apprentice together?
So what if we did? Fuck! We're getting nowhere! These bearers' flames are next to bloody useless!
We're never going to be able to fire up the forges unless we can find some new crystals.
I'm a busy man, as you can see, so do me a favor and piss off. Oh, and if you're struggling to find your way out, ask Blackthorn. That prick knows exactly where the exit is. He's not wanted here. And neither are you.
All right. I'm going.
Please, Chief, you've got to do something.
But if we can't fire the forges, how are we going to earn our keep?
Shut your...
Let me guess. Zoltan told you to piss off.
As a personal favor to him, yes.
Well, at least he didn't beat about the bush.
There'll be no talking him round. Not after what I did.
Which is what exactly? If we're to help, we need to know. What turned the village against you?
I left. Dravozd. Zoltan. The burden of leadership our dying master dropped in our laps. All of it. There are two kinds of smiths in this world, you see. My kind, who are in it for the love of the craft, who labour on a single piece from dawn to dusk to get it just right. And the other kind, who are in it for different reasons. People like Zoltan, whose work is quick and cheap. The kind of smiths who shit out a few hundred blades, reap the profit, and divvy it out among themselves. There wasn't a single day we weren't at each other's throats. And bit by bit, people started taking sides. You would have torn Dravozd in half had it gone on. So, I left.
You didn't have to do that.
Zoltan's a better chief than I would have been. His way of doing things kept food on people's tables. Dravozd prospered without me and my lofty ideals getting in the road. Until the crystals run out at any rate. Without magic to fire the furnaces, this place is as good as dead.
It depends on how you look at it, though. There's got to be other ways of making fire. We manage it in the Deadlands.
Thanks to Sid's ingenuity, yeah. He saw all of this coming. Knew crystals were the problem, not the solution. And spent years coming up with ways of doing without.
You know what I mean, though, right? Where there's a will, there's a way. What I'm trying to say is that it's not your fault. You couldn't have predicted this.
It doesn't matter whose fault it is. I don't want to be the greatest smith alive just because I happen to be the last. Clive. Dravosh won't last long without its furnaces. So, do you think it's time we shared Sid's bellows with the world? The way I see it, it's your decision to make.
Hold on, Blackthorn. Sid made those things for us. They give us an edge over the rest. And you'd be throwing it away.
All right. Do it. This place was your home. I won't abandon it to its fate. Sid's creations were never meant to be hoarded. It was only ever a matter of time before we shared them. Let this be another step on the road to freeing Valisthea from the prison of the Crystal's blessing. Dravost will show the world that it's possible. Wouldn't you agree, August?
When you put it that way, of course. It's like hearing Sid speak from beyond the grave.
Thank you, Clive.
Shall I go and fetch the plans, then?
I know I'm off by heart. I'll be needing some help, though. Building a furnace isn't exactly a one-man job. Do us a favour and round up anyone strong enough to lug a brick or two with you, August.
All right, then.
And I've got a job for you too, Clive. Finding me some salamander skin. I need leather for the bellows and nothing else will withstand the heat. Luckily for us, salamanders feed out in the fields of Carava.
Time for a spot of hunting, then. Let's make this quick, shall we? I dare say that will be enough for a decent set of bellows.
Bellows.
What's this all about then?
Don't know. So, any trouble finding the skin?
Nothing I couldn't handle.
There should be plenty. Right then, time to put these louts to work. If everyone pulls their weight, we'll be finished in no time.
Well, I'll be damned. I honestly didn't think it'd work. But it's hot enough, all right. And without a single crystal in sight.
You know what this means, don't you?
I do, yeah. Dravost is saved.
Sorry about earlier. I take back everything I said. That thing you built us is an honest-to-God's marvel. You saved our village.
It's Blackthorn you should be thanking. He oversaw the construction.
Give this to him, would you?
What is it?
Pit Coal's cinders. After he left, I spent years trying to eke the most out of our forges. That there was my answer. Chuck it in the fire, and your forge will burn hotter for longer, which will do wonders for your steel. Our secret for yours. Only fair. I've always envied Blackthorn. Since the day I became chief, I spent every spare moment trying to match up to the bastard. No amount of sleepless nights at the Anvil will ever bridge that gap, though. He's a genius. Plain and simple. The man Dravost needed. But he took all his talent and left. Gifted and free. Is it any wonder I hate his guts?
The cinders would mean more coming from you.
I need to forgive him first. And that's not gonna happen.
Well, you know what they say. Oriflamme weren't built in a day and all that. These things take time. Especially when they involve two geezers who hold grudges tighter than their hammers. But what matters is, Blackthorn's got that twinkle back in his eye. And I'd call that a job well done.
So would I.
I reckon he's going to be at it a while yet, though, so why don't you head off without us? I'll see that the old git gets home safe and sound.
See that you both do. I'll save the cinders till then.
All right. It'll be a nice little surprise for him.
These things are going to take some getting used to.
Yeah. Feel weak.
It was no trouble at all.
Clive, you're back. How'd you get on? Any luck?
Any luck, you say?
Crystals crack. Is this what I think it is? Where in the hell did you find it?
It's a long story.
Right there on the road to Eastpool. Who'd have thought it?
Everything up there's been abandoned for years. The empty cabin made for the perfect shelter. Though I fear my presence may have forced the poor creatures to look elsewhere.
Don't blame yourself, Clive. The Blight's right on Eastpool's doorstep. They'd have had to move on before long, even if you hadn't have turned up. They'll find a new home. Trust me. After all, that's what us endangered animals do. Anyway, what matters is, you managed to nick us one of their quills before they could run off. And now all that's left is to fix it to the carving.
I didn't know you could carve.
Reckon there's a lot you don't know about me. Like the fact I'm as good with a whittling knife as I am with a sword. And that bone Ember gave me's a dream to work with. What did you say it was from again? An Avis?
But it weren't your Avis, Sid. I slew one of my own at last.
So all those long nights in the pit finally bore fruit. I'm proud of you, Ember.
Don't speak too soon. I ain't done my trial yet.
There we go. What do you think?
I think if you ever hang up your scouting cap, you'll be able to make an honest living.
Oh, will I? I should go and see if Ed is awake.
Give it my best.
You can give it to yourself. Come on.
Gentlemen, I see you both made it home in one piece.
Yeah, well, we didn't want to outstay our welcome. The whole village turned out for a go on the bellows after you left. Everyone except Zoltan has. Didn't see hide nor hair of him.
Oh, but that reminds me. I have something for you.
Pit gold cinder. How'd you come by this? And you're sure he wanted me to have it?
I'm sure. He didn't say so, but I think he wants to forgive you.
Huh. Imagine that. Yeah. You know I could never leave this place, don't you? Every time you put on mail, you and the curse breakers are trusting me with your lives. There's no greater honor for a smith than that. I'm not about to go crawling back to Zoltan for forgiveness, but I will make good use of his cinder. And if that helps save even a single life, then he'll have my gratitude. What was it you said he called me? Huh? A genius? And he spent sleepless night trying to copy me, did he? Sounds like I better get to work. I've got a reputation to uphold.
It's good to see you back on form, Blackthorn.
I don't know how you pair put up with me sometimes, but I'm grateful all the same. Now, where was I? Oh yeah, about to put Zoltan back in his place.
Ain't got the art to tell him how similar they are. Stubborn bastards.
A little healthy competition should be good for him.
You're not wrong. Still, it's a shame him and Zoltan couldn't let bygones be bygones. No use grumbling about it now, though. Blackthorn's happy. Or as near to happy as he gets. And that's good enough for me.
Trouble with your gear, or... So, what'll it be? And?
There's something about it. I feel like it's... Oh, I wasn't expecting you back so... All yours. Best of luck out there, Sid.
Ah, me lords.
How are you feeling?
Well, thank you. Is something wrong?
Wrong? No, nothing like that. What it is,
Go on, please. It's beautiful. Did you make it?
We did, aye. It's from all of us here at the Hideaway. Your new family, like. It's a good luck charm. We may come up north when a band's on the way. I mean a baby. To let them know that they're part of the family too. Oh, I hope you like it.
I don't know what to say. I thank you, my lords, for everything.
If there's anything you need, just let us know.
I will.
Clive, fancy a swift off? I'm thirsty.
I could be convinced. When you think you've had enough?
Oh, we're celebrating. I'm gonna be a father.
I think Edda might have something to say about that.
Ah, you know what I mean. Bit of light in these dark times. Wasn't long after me 10th name day, my mum told us she was with child again. I was over the fucking moon. I was looking forward to having a little one to lord it over, what with me being the runt of the litter. Thought I'd finally have a chance to prove to the world that I could be a big brother. Imperials came the day she went into labour. Had myself a baby sister. And then I didn't. My whole family gone in a blink, while I hid in the cellar like the spineless little arsehole I was. Great brother I turned out to be. I'll never be a leader. And I'll never be a hero. I'm just a daft little dog who comes running when his master calls. I'll never be like you, or Sid, or Jill, or even Torgal.
Have you finished?
Maybe.
Do you know why you're our best scout? Because you don't need anyone to hold your hand. Without your resourcefulness, your courage, your determination, I don't know where we'd be. Maybe hanging off a cliff like,
That was only the once.
Exactly. You learned from it. And here you are after Founder knows how many missions, stronger for everyone. And let's not forget Rosalith. Who was it who freed me from the dungeon? Who was it who ran to Jill's rescue?
That would be me.
Because you're our brother, Gav. My brother.
Your brother.
Which means that when the time comes,
I get your room. And your sword. I may have had one too many.
you may have had 10 too many.
I said I was thirsty. Better get back to work anyway. After I walk this off. Clive?
What is it?
Thanks for, you know,